Are you prepared to be stalked by celery? Well, join me on this juicy journey as I dive deep into my celery juicing experience and unpack some of those secrets of this humble herb. Now, do you think we will flip the scripts and have you stalking celery at the end of this video? Well, stay tuned to find out more. Hello friends, my name is Jaishal, and I've been navigating this crazy, chaotic world of mind, body, and soul wellness for well over a decade, trying to find those alternative solutions to my chronic health conditions. And perhaps many of you can relate to this rather frustrating journey, often filled with many twists and turns and sometimes even U-turns along the way. Now I'd like to share with you my experiences and learnings on this journey. So I invite you to subscribe to my channel and to remember to click on that bell notification so you never miss an update that may just be that catalyst for inspiration in your life. And as always, please remember that none of what I'm going to share with you in this video is considered medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. In this part of the video, I'm going to share with you the medical medium celery juicing protocol that I've personally followed, as well as any things or tips that you should be mindful of if you're going to go down this path of celery juicing. So the first is I always had the celery juice pure, 100% pure, not diluted, mixed with anything, not even water. So it has to be pure celery juice. Else you'll probably be pissing money down the toilet because celery is quite expensive. The second aspect is I always try to have a minimum of 16 ounces, sometimes working up to a maximum of 32 ounces per day in one serving. And if you want to go more, you can go up to 64 ounces, but it does become pretty pricey to be able to go up to 64 ounces, unless of course budget is not a problem for you, or maybe you're an underground farmer that has this abundant supply of celery. If so, you should probably be supplying me. The other factor to be mindful of, or the part of the protocol that I followed, is also to make sure never to consume anything else for at least 20 to 30 minutes after consuming the celery juice, not even water. Wait 20 minutes, then have whatever else you need to have. So I try to follow it as strictly as possible. But one tip I want to share with you is that celery is on the dirty dozen list of items with pesticides, so highly recommend that if you do end up celery juicing, or if it is possible, try and stick with organic celery. I know it can be more pricey, but you don't want to undo a lot of benefits through consuming pesticides. But if you do have to go conventional, just make sure you wash the celery as best as possible to get as much of the pesticide residue off the celery. Now in the next part of the video, I'm going to share with you why celery juice is supposed to be this effective. What are some of the components of celery juice that make it so powerful? And one thing to note that might be helpful is that I followed this protocol for about, say, cumulatively 4 months, but essentially 2 months break, and then 2 months again back on this protocol. So that's based on the length of time that I followed on this protocol, and that I'll be sharing with you then my pros from this experience, as well as some of the cons and my overall take on the celery juicing experience. So let's talk about why celery juice is that potent in its effectiveness according to medical medium. So the number one reason is because celery juice contains something called sodium cluster salts. And these sodium cluster salts are what are largely responsible for the detoxification, as well as the helping to neutralize those toxins or pathogens in your body. And this is not to be confused with your table salt or your sea salt, which may send your blood pressure up through the roof. It's a completely different type of salt. And those other two salts, the table salt and the sea salt, those are largely stimulants, but that's a rabbit hole for another video. Now the sodium cluster salts are also really helpful in terms of helping out with the improvement of liver health, as well as to improve your overall digestion. Now celery juice does contain its own unique blend of digestive enzymes, which is the reason why celery juice is so helpful with digestion. And for someone like me who suffered with a lot of digestive issues, this is the predominant factor that helps to alleviate a lot of those digestive issues. And finally, celery juice does have its own unique blend of vitamin C, antioxidants, as well as trace minerals that help to support your overall health. So there you go. That's why, in a nutshell, celery juice is that potent in its effectiveness. So this is my favorite part of the video. That's the part of the video where I get to talk about all the benefits that I experienced on the celery juicing journey. And the number one benefit, as I mentioned before, was the improved digestion. Now, I'm someone who suffered with a lot of digestive issues and chronic acid reflux, and celery juice really helped to alleviate those symptoms and improve my overall digestion. Before celery juicing, I often had to take digestive enzyme or take digestive bitters in order to just help me digest a meal. And after going on celery juice, I was able to at least reduce or eliminate the need for digestive enzymes on those bitters. And provided that it was a relatively simple meal, I couldn't still consume gluten. Gluten still causes a whole host of issues. So those are the types of food that I generally always avoid. But with the relatively simple meals, I was able to consume them without needing to resort to digestive enzymes or the digestive bitters, which I think is a huge plus for celery juicing. The other critical benefit that I experienced was reduced constipation. So celery juice really helped to make the bowel movement more regular and make the experience in the toilet a lot more better than what it was in the past. It also helps to improve your appetite. So yeah, I was basically eating like a lion every day. There's this huge appetite just because the celery juice helps to, revive the entire digestive system and just make it function better overall. And also for someone who's suffering with hypothyroid issues, that can be quite miserable as well. So celery juice is I think a huge component in helping to alleviate some of those symptoms that I experienced with having hypothyroid issues. So there you go. In a nutshell, some of those benefits, those are really important benefits that I've experienced with celery juicing. But in the next part, we're going to get into the cons. So the number one con to celery juicing is that it can leave you with pretty aggressive detox symptoms. Now these detox symptoms can be so bad that it leaves you feeling nauseous and not wanting to ever see celery juice again because the taste can be so bad initially. And that is, just be mindful, it's a detox symptoms. It takes time for celery juice to do its work, and part of it is because your body is so filled with all these toxins that when you first consume it, it's going to taste terrible. It's going to leave you feeling miserable. It can just make you feel so sick that you never want to see it again. So something to be mindful of. If you gotta, at least I found that you have to be willing to push through those periods when the detox symptoms come up. I know from my mom, she hated me for giving her celery juice. She said, "What is this? I never want to see it again. It's making me feel so miserable. I'm throwing up. I'm feeling nauseous all the time." So it's definitely something to be mindful of. It's the detox symptoms, which can be pretty intense. The other con to celery juice is that it's not a quick fix solution. It's not something that you're going to go and get just like a pharmacy pill that immediately you pop it and all of a sudden you're feeling better. It's not a band-aid solution. It's something that's going much deeper in terms of the work that it's doing to be able to really repair the underlying damage and try and be more of a permanent solution rather than a quick fix solution. So it is not really the band-aid approach. So just be mindful. It's something you might need to stick with for a very long period of time, depending on your condition, in order to see the benefits from celery juice. So for me personally, it took a very long time to be able to experience the benefits. I started with celery juicing many years ago, and I quit for all the wrong reasons, being the cost of celery juice and the time and effort that it takes. But probably should not have quit at that time, because celery juice does really show its benefits over a longer period of time, and depending on your situation. Like, I was someone who suffered from a chronic condition for many years, probably even decades long, and it's not realistic for me to expect that it's going to simply just eradicate my symptoms and all my chronic conditions and just put me back to normal in an instant. It does take a lot of time to work through your body and to do a lot of the healing work that it needs to do. So just be realistic and rational. It's not a quick fix solution. Now, I don't think celery juice works in isolation. It's just one of the tools in a toolbox, but I do think it's a power tool. But it's not something that's, you can just do celery juicing and carry on with all the unhealthy habits, eating, a whole bunch of crap, processed foods, and expecting that, celery juice is just going to alleviate all your symptoms. It is, though, a powerful tool. And if you do consume those foods, it's not also to turn you away from it. It's something that can help you even while you consume some of those nasty, nasty processed foods. And so another con to the celery juice is that, if you're someone that travels a lot, if you end up traveling a lot, then, getting access to celery juice can be quite tricky. You often have to go and search out a juice bar. But oftentimes I found that if you're willing to speak to the person at a customer desk and just say, hey, can you prepare me just pure straight up celery juice, they would often be willing to do so for you. So that's just be mindful. Just always remember to tell them never to dilute it with water or ice or anything, because I've had that. Even though I asked them for pure celery juice, they still put ice in there, and I was like, oh no, you just ruined it. But yeah, that's something to just be mindful of if you're someone that travels a lot. I'm just making sure that I've covered all the cons, so I'm not being overly biased in my approach. So I think I basically covered everything from a cons perspective. And so there you go. There's all the cons to celery juicing. Now, I was not being biased, and I'm going to provide you with my overall take on celery juicing. So as you probably guessed, celery juice is getting a huge thumbs up from me. I think it's not just a tool, it's a power tool in the overall healing toolbox. Like I mentioned, not to be used in isolation. I think a lot of people get caught out here. It's to be used in combination with a number of different other healing practices that help to improve and facilitate your overall path towards wellness. Now, hopefully in this video, I've convinced you to be stalking celery in those grocery aisles. And the next time I go for grocery shopping and the price of celery is exorbitant, I know just who to blame. So thank you for tuning into my video, and I hope to see you in my next video.